Hey, what's going on, guys? This is JP.
This is the Bug.
This is JC.
This is Flash.
This is Denny Hendricks.
And you're listening to...
And you are listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening to the Run and Gun Podcast.
What is going on, folks? Welcome to another episode of the Run and Gun Podcast. Tonight, you have the pleasure of me, JPeeps, and also the man on the other end. You have Flash, and Flash has a guest with him tonight, his pet Snoopy. So
what's up, y'all? How we doing?
We're doing good. We missed y'all last week because of some technical difficulties. But we are back in the saddle this week, and we are ready to roll.
Let's rock and roll.
Without further ado, let's get right into it. The game that actually just ended not too long ago, Ravens and Steelers. And I must say, it was rather interesting because the whole time, this game was off, and then it was on, and then it got moved from Thanksgiving to Sunday. And then from Sunday, it got moved to Monday, and then it got moved to Tuesday. And then they were like, Steelers players are still testing positive. Some of them boycotted and stuff and did all this. Lamar Jackson's got COVID. Mark Andrews has COVID. And then James Conner got COVID from the Steelers, and it just got real ugly. And now they've finally decided, you know what? We're going to have this game on Wednesday night. But we can't have it on Wednesday in prime time because why? NBC's doing a Christmas lighting for Rockefeller, so this game ends up being at 3:40 p.m. and just ended, and the final was 19-14 in favor of the Steelers. And a lot of people are going to say, well, that's pretty close, but a lot of people were out for this game. The Ravens actually did pretty well considering who they had out, but rather interesting. Big Ben, 36 of 51 for 266 yards, one touchdown. RG3, 7 carries, 68 yards. The fact that his rushing total is up tells me that I feel like he did not have a great night passing the ball. And did he? No, he didn't. Not really. Neither. Wow. So the interesting thing about this game tonight, Trace McSorley, who's the Ravens' third string, and RG3, who is currently second string behind Lamar Jackson, both guys combined for 9 of 18 for 90 yards and 1 touchdown and 1 interception, with Trace McSorley throwing the lone touchdown and RG3 throwing the lone interception. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I heard RG3 didn't do so hot.
Yeah, he didn't. I honestly, I was glad to see Trace McSorley back on the field again because I haven't seen the man play a game since that Rose Bowl against USC a couple of years ago. I really feel like it's been that long ago. He hasn't. That's the last time he played an actual meaningful snap in a legit game.
I mean, he was doing pretty solid with the Redskins back then.
I mean,
before he tore his ACL and then he tore it again.
McSorley was never with the Redskins. He was drafted by Baltimore.
Wait. Who are we talking about?
I'm talking about
RG3?
Oh, McSorley.
Oh, I was thinking RG3.
Oh yeah. See, RG3. Yeah, I mean,
my bad.
I mean, you're good. I mean, even with RG3, I mean, it was good to see him back on the field again. I saw at one point he pulled up or something, going out of bounds earlier in the game, but I mean, it was his first start. I feel like if he were to play more, he'd get his numbers would improve week to week to some extent. But Trace McSorley had a rating at a QBR of 89.5. RG3 had one of 28.9. So I mean, the better thrower of these two, from what it looks like in the grand scheme of things, is Trace McSorley. even though he was 2 of 6 and RG3 was 7 of 12. But I mean, it's been it's been a disappointing year for the Ravens here recently. Like, they've dropped so many games here recently, like getting swept now by the Steelers, and then not even beating the Titans, getting out muscled by the Titans. So it's been a long year.
Oh yeah, I think the Ravens they're gonna. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, they'll still make the playoffs just because of.
Oh no, they're not even in the playoff hunt right now.
Not anymore. They're out.
Nope, the Browns are kind of technically.
Well, I mean, because like the way how this playoffs is set up is that there's going to be one division with 3 teams in it.
And I'm going to bring this up for you right now.
If it's not the Ravens, then I need to hear the name. If it's probably going to be New England or something.
I'm going to blow your mind with this and show you this because it's coming up right now. So if the playoffs were to end today with the 17 playoff in the AFC, your number 1 seed is Pittsburgh. Number 2 is Kansas City. Number 3 is Tennessee. Number 4 is Buffalo. Number 5 is the Cleveland Browns. Number
5.
Yep. Number 6.
The Browns over the Colts.
Yes. Number 6 is the Miami Dolphins. And the last team in the playoff in the AFC right now would be the Indianapolis Colts. The Ravens are on the outside looking in.
Who would you say got a better chance right now between the Patriots and the Ravens?
Between the Patriots and the Ravens, if it ended today, the Ravens have a better chance, but only by 1 game.
I feel like New England's going to catch up on that.
New England's got a lot of ground to make up. New England needs to have about, at least, I want to say, if New England, realistically, let me be honest, if New England wants to get in the playoffs in the AFC, New England needs to go 10-6, and they're 5-6 right now.
I mean, they did beat the Cardinals. They should win against the Chargers. I don't know about the Rams, but they may get the Rams and the Dolphins too. I think the only loss they're going to have again for this season maybe against the Bills.
I don't see the Patriots beating the Dolphins down in Miami.
In Miami?
I don't see it, and I don't see them beating the Bills on Monday night. And I honestly probably don't see them beating the Rams. I see them losing 3.
I don't know. The Rams could be suspect at times. That's the only reason why I'm not going to give it to the Rams like that.
I only say the Rams because that game is in LA and the Patriots have to come cross country. And this ain't the same Patriots teams that we're used to seeing.
That is true. Well,
I don't know. Like, let's be real.
I mean, the win against the Cardinals should give some New England fans some hope.
It should, but at the same time, they lost 33-6 to the lowly 49ers. They lost 27-20 to the Texans, and they lost 18-12 to the Broncos. So,
that how many of those were with Cam Newton?
Ooh, I know they lost to Buffalo with Cam Newton, and they lost to the Texans with Cam Newton, and I believe they lost to the Seahawks with Cam Newton too. And they lost to the Chiefs, I believe, with Cam Newton. So I think only the Broncos and 49ers games were without Cam Newton.
Yikes.
Yeah. But the other thing, too, look, I know we've had a long talk about this. What do you make of Tampa Bay? 7-5. Got blasted. Well, I don't want to say blasted, but
you can't say blasted because they crept back in.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, let's be real. If they don't have to settle for 3 at one point in the game where they ended up kicking a field goal, which made it 24-27, which is the reason why it was 24-27. If they convert that to a touchdown, they win that game. But the offense just lit up their defense. Tyreek Hill and Mahomes put on a clinic. Mahomes had 400 yards. Tyreek Hill had 300 some yards. I mean,
Tyreek was just off the charts. Hurt me in fantasy. Ask JPeeps. He was on the other end of that.
I know. That's why I dominated you. That's why I dominated
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill and Mahomes. You lucky.
Tyreek Hill dropped 50 something. Like,
you lucky I didn't have I forget who else I had. I don't even know.
I saw.
I was gonna say whoever it was, someone else on my bench had 20 points. But anyway, you lucky I didn't start them too. Otherwise, I'd have dropped 200 on you.
It was a bad weekend, and most of my guys weren't even playing. But
hey, it happens. It happens.
It happens.
That's payback for week 1 because I was supposed to beat you week 1 too. Just hope you know. But yeah. So I mean, what do you make of it? Everybody's gonna point fingers at the coaches and stuff, but hey, like people are saying,
So we point fingers at Tom Brady.
Look,
or we should be pointing fingers at that O-line.
Remember what we talked about? Remember what we talked about in that conference call one day? Remember what I said about that offense and how outdated it is? Because a lot of people that are not Bucks Twitter have been saying that Bruce Arians' offense is 3 years behind the innovative minds such as a Sean McVay or a Sean McDermott or who else is there out there Matt LaFleur, like that is what a lot of people have said outside of Bucks Twitter. And if you don't believe me, I can name a few.
Drop those names.
Oh my gosh! See now you're gonna make me look for these names now. Dang, I shouldn't.
I'm messing.
No, see, I mean, I have them. Yeah, you should just gave me a little bit more time to find them and bring them up. Is the thing.
You're good.
But honestly, here we go. Here's one. Fox Sports talks about the interception rate. Through 12 games, Tom Brady's got 11. Through 43 games for Aaron Rodgers, he's only got 10 since 2018. Who else is there? There is another one. Y'all bear with me while I find this. Because we retweet a lot of stuff and we also repost a lot of stuff. I believe his name is Jordan Moore. He's also a reporter.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I follow him. He's a very good source. Okay,
yeah. See, so you know who he is. He's said the same thing multiple times. How is it that this offense is so far behind and everything? Oh yeah, here it is right here.
Yes, sir.
Bruce Arians is 14-14 as the Bucs head coach. At what point do you look at him and say that he's the problem? He finished 7-9 last year and is 29-30 in his last 4 seasons coaching. He is mediocre at best.
The thing is, you can't really fire him unless Buccaneers are actually willing to pay real money for a coach.
And you know what? You're not going to find a better option right now, unless you can somehow sway Eric Bieniemy to leave Kansas City. But honestly, I really don't think. And a lot of people are wondering why Eric Bieniemy isn't a coach yet. I say this: Eric Bieniemy. For a lot of you, if you were Eric Bieniemy, what would you do? Would you leave Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes and all these fiery, explosive weapons and go somewhere else and restart? Or would you hang around, play the role of offensive coordinator for a while, and then take over when Andy Reid retires? That way you can use all these weapons at your expense. What would you do? What would you do? Ask yourself that.
It's a tough position, man. I do not know on top of my mind.
Because we all don't know how long Andy Reid has left. And then also, too, I know you want to be along for that ride for some of them Super Bowls that you're about to win in Kansas City. And then one day you take control and you go win some of those Super Bowls. All I'm saying is I understand where he's coming from if he doesn't want to take another job. I understand. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, yeah, also, too, one of our friends, Chris Torello, Patrick Mahomes is way more talented than Tom Brady ever was. It's the truth.
Well, it's true. I mean, did Tom Brady had an arm like that? No.
No, and the other thing, too, Tom Brady didn't have a 40 like Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
I'm seeing things that he's doing, and he's just doing it with ease. Patrick Mahomes does it with ease. Tom Brady, like, I'm going to say, if you had actually been there to see that on Sunday, you would have been like, my God. It's like literally you look at the Chiefs offense, it's like lightning. And then you look at the Bucks offense.
You said it yourself about Tyreek Hill. You blinked, the man covered 20 yards.
40. Like he by himself is so fast in real life. It's crazy. Like and I always say this about a lot of things. TV tells you one thing. Like, honestly, TV makes a lot of these people that look
slower.
No, well, they look slower. TV puts weight on people too. These TV cameras, in the grand scheme of things, because I mean, I've gone to training camps a few times, and I've looked at guys like some guys even out of the league right now. Like I've looked at Jameis, I've looked at Fitzpatrick, I've looked at Blake Bortles, RG3. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, RG3 was just jogging and he looked like he was sprinting one day. And then I looked at Jameis, and Jameis honestly he looked skinnier in real life versus what you see on TV. Like on TV, he looks like he's thick built. He looks very thick built, like thicker than what he is. But you see him in real life and he's not as thickly built and everything. Like TV dresses up a lot. Mm-hmm. Believe me. But the other thing too, right now, based off of the situation in the NFC West, and this is the last thing before we jump on, who would you say is the best team in the NFC West right now? Because this is an honest question.
It's tough. It's tough. I like to say Seattle, but they play around too much with their opponents. They always play down to their opponent.
I would agree with that because even last night or Monday
night, they messed around and allowed Philly to
exactly that score. I mean, the score.
A lot of people were mad I didn't cover the spread, but the game was worse than the score tells you for Philly.
To be honest, yes, because I felt myself that should have been a blowout.
30 to something.
Yeah.
At least.
Exactly. But they made it harder than it had to be. Like, my thing, I'm just like.
I think that offensive coordinator should have gone. That's what I think.
You think the offensive coordinator should have what?
They should let him go.
Really?
I mean, last year they were running the ball more when you had Russell Wilson, and it came back to haunt them because all the running backs were hurt in the playoffs, and they had no clue how to utilize Russell Wilson.
So you feel like Brian Schottenheimer should be fired or let go?
I'm not entirely the biggest fan of him. I'll tell you that.
Understandable. Everyone's got their opinions. I understand that. But now we can go ahead and swing on over to the NBA. And looky, right away out the gate, we got something to talk about. So there's been a trade where the Houston Rockets have sent Russell Westbrook to Atlanta, and in return, the Washington Wizards. My bad. Let's get those two franchises mixed up. But
how?
Don't ask me how. It's a weird analogy. But he goes to the Washington Wizards, and in return, the Rockets receive a first-round pick and John Wall. Look, hey, you're the expert here. You tell me what's going on. I don't know.
I think well, from which aspect are you asking? Like he, I think. I mean, I still think Westbrook wanted out because he didn't trust the culture in Houston.
Okay.
I think. I think that's why he wanted out. But I don't know if sending him to Washington. I felt like they could have hang on to him and probably waited for a better offer when they started playing. Let his value go up, but I think this is probably the best.
Right.
It's probably it's probably the best option, I guess, because I think the Houston Rockets they signed Cousins. I guess Boogie probably wanted Wall over there. That's probably my speculation.
Mm-hmm. Because my thing.
Uh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
go on. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. See, because my thing was just like, well, the one thing I understand about this deal is okay. The Rockets wanted him out of the West, of course. So they said, you know what, send him over to the East. That way we don't have to worry about him in the playoffs or anything like that. So I fully understand that part. But it was kind of surprising based off of who he went to, in my opinion. Like I could have seen him going somewhere else. Like maybe the Hornets if he were to go to the East or something like that. Or maybe back to OKC. I don't know. That's just me.
I mean, you know, a lot of fans don't like Westbrook because they're just obsessed with him, it appears. I do not understand why they're obsessed with him, but I'm to some extent like there's a lot of Houston fans that just didn't like him from the MVP race back in 2017. So I think that had eased up a lot between those fan bases if you want to look at it from that perspective. I think Houston, they're still going to be a fifth seed team because of James Harden, regardless.
Right.
I mean, we all know John Wall. I don't think John Wall is better than Russell Westbrook, especially with his torn Achilles. That just
Yeah.
put him like a couple steps behind. I just did not understand why there's people out there trying to say Wall's better right now, but
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
it is what it is.
I mean, honestly, if you
Like we're gonna pretend that we did not see Russell Westbrook had a good stretch of like 30 points and what like 8 assists or something. Like he was practically carrying the Rockets when Harden was nowhere to be seen. All until he pulled that quad and everything went south. So I mean, I think the hatred on Russell Westbrook has been blasted a bit too much. I think, but the Wizards are very much a very sleeper team. That guy really, I can't say his name. You know what I'm talking about, right?
the guy from
He's a rookie from
he's a rookie for the
Gonzaga. Well, he's not a rookie anymore, but he was drafted from Gonzaga. That guy's pretty good. And I think Bradley Beal is also a better fit for Russell Westbrook, just for the sole purpose that he can handle playing off the ball better than James Harden. Because like when you see James Harden, like when you watch the game, you see him he just dominates the ball.
So
and he uses
the guy you're talking about that was a rookie from that plays for the Wizards. Are you talking about Rui Hachimura?
Hachimura.
Yeah, he was number 21 at Gonzaga, and he's number 8 for the Wizards.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I know who you're talking about now.
That guy's pretty good. I mean, if I'm a Wizards fan, I mean, you're definitely looking back at playoff contention, but only as a fifth seed. They gotta. I mean, I don't know what else the Wizards are gonna do to like, because right now, if I'm the Wizards, I'm trying to convince Bradley Beal to stay. I think the trade for Russell Westbrook helps a lot, but they gotta sign like another person or hopefully have someone coming up and coming within their program.
Okay.
But I think as of right now, a lot of people are sleeping on them.
Oh.
There's been a lot of people are sleeping. Some people told me that they're gonna be out of the first round. They won't make it past the first round. Some people even went as far as saying they're not making the playoffs, which I think that's a bit extreme. I think you're talking about the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
They'll make the playoffs.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Now, the other thing that happened in the East that happened last week that we wanted to share, but we couldn't. Well, a couple things that happened. So the Miami Heat gave Bam Adebayo a 5-year, $195 million maximum deal. That deal surpassed Jimmy Butler's offseason deal from the year prior for the highest paid in Heat franchise history.
Whoa.
Did the Adebayo deal change the landscape of the Giannis sweepstakes? Because my thing is, I'm just looking at, like, some people speculated that, you know, Giannis might come to Miami, and then writers are talking about Giannis is staying in Milwaukee. I'm starting to believe Giannis might be going back to Milwaukee because of the fact that the Heat just gave Bam Adebayo a 5-year maximum deal like that.
The thing is, Bam plays center. Giannis doesn't. Giannis plays power forward or small forward. They play different positions, so it all depends if they want to spend the money.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no cap in basketball, correct?
There's a luxury tax.
Okay. Because I'm thinking to myself, like, how do you go out and afford what you just gave Bam Adebayo, and then you go out and pay Giannis whatever Giannis wants? Because Giannis is gonna want something along the lines probably of that $195 million.
Shoot, I'm gonna be honest right now. I'm trying to mentally process this Westbrook to Wizard trades. I might have some more fresh thoughts about that next week, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. It's so fresh in my mind right now. But I think early thoughts is I think my early thoughts would definitely be that Russell Westbrook is a good way to convince Beal to stay. I don't know what the Wizards cap space looks like right now. I mean, I just gotta do a little bit more research. But I think they'll make it in like a 6th seed or a 5th seed, maybe 4th.
Oh, interesting. Okay, like I said, we'll see.
They may, but I'm saying it's too early. I don't know. I don't want to get my hopes up.
Well,
because like Wizards wasn't looking that good last year as well. So.
Well, and then here's the other thing too. Brandon Ingram also signed a 5-year, $158 million contract extension.
A lot of these rookies are getting paid like crazy.
It's a maximum deal.
Maximum. Like, sir, did you forget you have Zion?
Yeah, really. That's my thing. I'm like, y'all got Zion and Brandon Ingram. Like, Zion's gonna want something along the lines of exactly. And like, are you gonna be able to keep Zion happy? Especially if Zion is let me recharge and refocus.
Oh, and they also what is it? They also extended Steven Adams too, who was also recently traded there.
See, you're gonna have to feed Zion, especially if Zion starts producing. You're gonna have to pay him some along the lines of that maximum contract extension, more than.
Just imagine the screens with Steven Adams and Zion though they're gonna be creating with that Pelicans.
Oh, I know. I can't wait.
Have you seen the screens they put up? Steven Adams alone. The man made Beverly drop down dead back in the 2017 playoffs.
See, that's why I can't wait.
Steven Adams is arguably probably the strongest dude in the NBA. A lot of people have admitted it.
That's why I can't wait.
Next year's gonna be interesting. I'm glad basketball's coming back.
It is. And speaking of which, did you also see the NBA's Christmas schedule?
It's meh.
This is why I need to see what these teams are going to look like first. Like, you got the Pelicans and the Heat. I like the matchups with Brandon Ingram and Zion going against a Heat team that was in the NBA Finals that's out to get back. Like, that's a good opening game. And then you got the Warriors and the Bucks. So, I mean, I'm anxious to see what's Golden State going to look like with Clay being out, but you got Steph Curry coming back and Draymond, and then you got their draft picks coming in to help out and stuff. And then you got the Nets and the Celtics, and I'm looking forward to seeing KD and Kyrie together.
The Nets.
I'm telling
Along with that coaching, interesting. I'll tell you one thing though. That Nets team is going to be shooting a lot of threes because they have D'Antoni as the assistant.
They got D'Antoni as the assistant, and they got Steve Nash as the head guy. So I like the Nets.
I think Steve Nash will probably be better than D'Antoni.
Oh, of course.
Call me crazy.
Of course.
Because D'Antoni is just going to just make them shoot threes like crazy.
I mean, yeah, that. And then, I mean, honestly, I'm just a Steve Nash fan. I grew up watching Steve Nash play. He was one of those guys I kind of wanted to see get a ring, but never got a ring. So I'm rooting for the man. And then you got the Mavericks and the Lakers at 8:00, and that's going to be interesting too. Lakers are defending their championship. The Mavericks, a team that made some noise last year. And then you got the Clippers and the Nuggets as like the nightcap after Christmas dinner's over and everything. That's going to be fun too.
Clippers are going to regress next year. I'm surprised they haven't dealt Paul George yet.
I agree with you.
Maybe. I'm surprised Russell Westbrook got traded before Paul George, if anything.
I agree with you because I honestly feel the same way. I see the Clippers greatly regressing next season because I just feel like, Doc Rivers isn't there anymore. And then
they got Ty Lue as our coach.
Yeah.
I think that speaks a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. See, and then just the fact of the matter is like the Lakers are too powerful right now to take that throne back. And so I don't see it.
At least the Eastern Conference, I feel like it's going to be more like anyone's game.
It really is. It really is because like what you're looking at Boston, you got Miami, you got Brooklyn,
Milwaukee, you got Brooklyn. What's that?
Mm-hmm.
There's Indiana, but I'm suspect of Indiana.
I feel you. And then, you've even got Orlando, who's always creeping in at that last spot in the playoffs.
I guess when I kind of think of it, I feel like the Wizards will be like right behind those top 4 teams. So I'll give them like a 5th seed. I think it'll be better than the Pacers and those kind of teams. All depends how the chemistry works.
Right.
I mean, now that I thought about it, I don't know what you're thinking. I just need to see like the Wizards like bring up someone from or like trade for like a bench dude or something. I feel like that's all.
Realistically, I want to see everybody like through their first 5 games. I want to see how everybody does, and then I can make a better judgment.
I feel like you're going to need 10 games because there's been years when the Orlando Magic was like top 4 in the Eastern Conference, and then they just slipped down. I've seen it.
I wouldn't. I agree with you. I'm sure.
I'm going to need 10 games, but look, man, I'm on the train that I want to see Russell Westbrook win a championship because of so many hatred people have been giving at him. That's a train I'm on.
I feel you.
It's not the easiest train. It's not even being easy as being a Westbrook fan alone. Especially with all the hatred that you get and everything.
I feel you. But the other thing too in the NBA, so there is one NBA team that's going to allow a limited number of fans this season when the 2020-2021 season kicks off or tips off, I should say. So the Utah.
Oh, one more thing. Magic Johnson looks like he likes the trade for the Wizards. He tweeted this. Everyone now has to watch out for the Wizards. They traded Russell Westbrook today. Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal will terrorize the East and make the Wizards a playoff team.
Game recognized game.
I think Magic Johnson. I think he's giving more respect than what a lot of people are.
Game recognized game. But yeah, so the Utah Jazz, they're going to allow a limited number of fans when the season resumes. I think the fact that there's a COVID vaccine plays a role, because if you remember correctly, back when all this started, it started with the Utah Jazz. Because remember, I believe it was, who was that? Rudy Gobert had touched all the microphones.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, it's.
I'm sorry. I just thought of all the slander I saw on Twitter against Rudy Gobert,
like
about that he was touching up all the microphones and everything, and everyone's like, "What the hell,
like,
man?"
So it's finally like we're starting to get back to having fans in the stands for these basketball games, and it's going to be a limited number, of course, with the Utah. But it's just ironic that the team that this all started under, where the NBA shut down, and they're going to be the first team to have fans back. So hey, good luck to you. I wish you all the best. But that's gonna now take us.
One more thing, though. I need the Raptors to open up to Emily for at least a few fans, or at least sell some good merch. At least
I think you can find some merch online somewhere.
I mean, I've seen some nice stuff on Twitter. I mean, I don't know.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
It looks nice.
It does. But just be mindful who you talk to about that stuff.
Yeah, I know.
But before we jump into the rest of college sports, so the word out of FAMU right now is that the women's basketball season has been canceled. From what I hear,
that's not.
Some people say, was this more of a move trying to reestablish the culture because the women's team was picked to finish 5th in the MEAC? I would say it is. Like, a lot of people wondering, like, how come the women aren't playing what the men are? Look, you got a first-year head coach. She wants to establish her culture in that locker room more. Nobody's losing eligibility because of this, thanks to the NCAA. So next time you see the women play, they'll be in the SWAC. And then from there, they'll hit the ground running. So I understand their.
I mean, I guess it's understandable, I suppose, if no one's not going to lose eligibility.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I'd sit on the sidelines too if need be, if it's a possibility. I wouldn't. And then I'm also keeping my kids safe. Nobody's going to risk getting COVID. So it's a smart move. And then on the other side of things, the FAMU men's basketball team, they tipped off their season. They lost by 9 points to Florida Gulf Coast. It was a very interesting game. They forced 23 turnovers and had 20 turnovers themselves. 24 rebounds as well, while Florida Gulf Coast had 30. They were 23 of 50 from the field and 6 of 19 from three-point range. And still lost by 9. But I'm going to be real. They got to clean up that three-point.
If you want to talk about three-pointers, let's talk about Kentucky. I heard they missed a lot of them.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Don't worry. And then the other thing, too, is the good thing I guess you could say about the FAMU men's basketball team is they gave Georgia a scare, but they came up just short. I think they trailed Georgia. They were tied with Georgia at the half and then for most of the third quarter, but Georgia just pulled away in the end. But, I mean, I'd say FAMU's men's basketball program they're close. They're close. And I think once they get into conference play, you'll see what I mean by they're close. But now that you actually mentioned Kentucky, their shortest starter is 6'7".
Wait,
Yes, you heard.
say that again?
Kentucky's
again?
shortest starter is 6'7". I was watching their game last night against.
The shortest starter.
Yes, I was watching their game against Kansas the other night, and the dude was 6'7". Literally they take up all the space on the floor. They're long, they cover all this space, but they are inconsistent from the 3-point line. That's one thing I did take away. Because if they had shooters, they would have won that game easily against Kansas.
Definitely. I don't know. Like, if I was building a team, I would not get carried away with like having my guards at 6'7". Maybe a shooting guard, but I would like to at least have someone that like could just shoot the ball. Period. Because have you seen like some of those OKC teams like after like post KD, like they got some lengthy dudes, but like they couldn't shoot the ball for crap. I think that's what we're seeing with Kentucky.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Because I mean, dude, oh my goodness, that was.
I mean, and this is college 3-point line too. Like, would you be a bit concerned? I know it could be a bad game, but would you be a bit concerned for John Calipari?
I would, because right now they're 1-2, and I think that they could win the SEC. Like, oh my gosh, geez, both Kentucky and Kansas had bad nights shooting 3-pointers. Kansas was 5 of 21. Kentucky was 3 of 21. Like, maybe it's just early in the season. Maybe that's what it is.
It's just early. I mean, keep in mind, a lot of these players have not played basketball since like what,
yeah, that's true too. And we're in the middle of a pandemic, so you know.
I mean, you won't be seeing that as much issues with NBA as much because a lot of them are going to be fresh and ready to roll.
Oh, of course. And plus, they're pros. They get paid.
Yeah. At least the good players do.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we ought to give this a little bit of time and see where.
Give them 10 games.
And then see where it goes and then come back then and make a judgment. So, I'm we'll see. But also, the college football playoff rankings came out. And once again, the top 4 again was Alabama for the second straight week. Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, and Ohio State. Texas A&M and Florida were the first 2 teams out. Miami was in the top 10. So, hey, look. And then also, too, another team that's getting a lot of attention, the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers.
That's been a fun run.
I like them. I really do. And they play Liberty. They have a game against Liberty. So Coastal Carolina's 9-0, Liberty's 9-1. I'm looking forward to that game. I really am. And then the other thing too, you got Cincinnati sitting there at 7, Georgia at 8, Iowa State at number 9. So I'm. This is going to be interesting at the finish. But the one thing that I question, what do you do with Ohio State? Because right now the scenario is Michigan is not practicing this week. Michigan will not be playing Maryland this week. So here's the scenario. Ohio State has to play 2 games here Saturday and next week in order to be eligible for the Big Ten championship. If Ohio State misses so much as one of those games, not Michigan. If Ohio State misses as much as one of those games, the Buckeyes do not go to the Big Ten championship. And a lot of people are already starting to criticize their secondary and their defense and all their whole setup.
You're talking about Michigan not playing Ohio State if they decide to duck.
Yeah, because that's why I was saying, Jim Harbaugh could ruin Ohio State's season possibly without even lining his squad up. That's the thing that a lot of people lose sight of.
Just bullshit some COVID reports.
He doesn't even have to do that. He could just flat out just say, we don't even want to play. And
But I feel like being on the college football playoff committee would probably give that an account, give it accountability, give them a break in
not even,
reality. But it'll be
not
funny.
even.
You don't
No,
think so?
because
You,
think of
I mean, who are they gonna put? Who are they gonna put over?
who would you
Ohio
put
State?
over Ohio State? Let's see. They love the SEC.
I mean,
The SEC.
I don't think Texas A&M or Florida are better teams than Ohio.
They are not. But here's the thing: Texas A&M has a good loss on their resume in Alabama, and if Texas A&M wins out, and they've already played a longer stretch of games than Ohio State, and Ohio State misses out on the Big Ten championship, and say, here's what happens if that happens. But at that point now you've got Northwestern battling against who else is out there from the other side? Wisconsin? Neither one of those teams make the playoff. So why not?
It might end up being Cincinnati then, because think about it. Because Florida is going to lose to Alabama in the SEC championship.
Okay.
All right, so they're not going to be in the talks for college football playoffs unless they love them too much.
But see, the thing working against Cincinnati is Cincinnati's a Group of 5 team.
That's the only thing. But if Ohio State gets out and Houston doesn't make it through, I mean, Cincinnati's next in line. That's the thing.
Hey, it could happen. It is 2020 after all.
I'm shining a damn torch for Cincinnati because Florida is not going to beat Alabama in the SEC championship. If they do, I will give them respect.
That's the other scenario right there.
I don't think it's happening.
I'm glad you just said that. That's the other scenario I see happening. Now, say Florida beats Alabama in the SEC championship, which is basically like
Alabama would just drop the 4.
Exactly. So what would that do, I think? I think that puts Notre Dame at number 1. Clemson goes to number 2. Alabama drops down to number 4. Florida would go to number 3, I think, and leapfrog Texas A&M because Florida beat the team that Texas A&M lost to, and it would show Florida has improved. That's if Florida wins the SEC championship. And I think that would put 2 SEC teams in the playoff.
In the playoffs.
Exactly.
Again.
And then I think in that scenario, you get 4 versus 1, which would be Alabama and Notre Dame. And then you get a 2 versus 3 where you got Florida playing against Clemson. And
hopefully Clemson will be healthy.
They should.
Oh yeah, another thing. I don't think we never spoke about this over the podcast. Dabu's tripping about how seriously he's taking COVID. He is tripping.
Oh yeah, because you saw the thing about his situation with Florida State.
Yeah,
we talked about it briefly last episode. I'm with you. I think Dabo just, I don't get it. That man is
I kind of like
you take a shot at Florida State saying I've been the coach here for 18 years and they've had 3 coaches in the last 4 years or something like that, and then you say and then your quarterback who is supposed to be this Heisman Trophy candidate is walking around on the sideline without a mask on, even though he had COVID. Man, look, it couldn't be me. It couldn't be me. I don't know. See, look, hey, a lot of people are kind of labeling Clemson as the villain of this college football playoff. A lot of people are kind of hoping that Clemson doesn't win it. But, hey, like I said, we'll see what happens. And then, again, Clemson has to play Notre Dame in the ACC championship because I don't see Miami getting there. I see Clemson continuing to win out and meet up with Notre Dame. So
Speaking of which, Clemson and Notre Dame. If one of those teams loses in the ACC championship, do one of them get knocked down?
Okay, well, see, here's the thing. I said it before the season started. I said, because and our other companion for this on this group, the Bug, called me crazy. I said in the ACC preseason breakdown, Clemson would lose to Notre Dame because the game was in South Bend. And I often say it a lot, like a lot of former Miami Hurricanes say it a lot. When you go to Notre Dame and it's close, don't leave the game in the officials' hands. If you want to beat Notre Dame in South Bend, you need to go in there and physically dominate them from start to finish. And Clemson did not do that. So the first game went to Notre Dame. Now the second game, I said, based off our ACC preseason breakdown, Clemson would beat Notre Dame in a rematch on a neutral field.
Definitely, it's harder to beat someone.
Exactly, it's hard to
field, man. And keep in mind, they had DJ Ongulele, who is like just a baby.
Exactly, and they hung tough. Now watch Trevor Lawrence come back.
Yeah, he's going to carve
exactly.
him up.
Because me personally, Notre Dame's a good football team, and they're
good.
They're undefeated. They deserve to be number 2 in the country. Some people would argue they deserve to be number 1 in the country. But at the same time, too, I'm not thoroughly impressed with Notre Dame for my own personal reasons. So I feel like Clemson with Trevor Lawrence this time, and because they've got more film to study and they can correct their mistakes. And the fact is, it's hard to beat a team twice. If you don't believe me, look at all these divisions where teams play each other twice in the NFL. So that's why I'm rolling with Clemson for the ACC championship. That's just me.
It'll be fun for those rematches. I mean, same thing with Seattle and Los Angeles Rams. I mean, Seattle tends. I mean, I know it's not college football, but still, it's the same situation because Seattle and Los Angeles. I mean, for some reason, Seattle just managed to drop a game against Los Angeles, no matter how good or how bad they are.
It's just how it is. It's hard to beat a team twice.
Exactly.
It's always how it is.
I mean, so I think Seattle's going to beat Los Angeles the next time around when they see them.
Here's one thing I got for you before we get out of here tonight. What's your opinion of BYU?
You really want me to? You see my DM.
I mean, I've dipped and dabbled a little bit on Twitter, and I've said, everybody's saying let BYU in the playoff, and BYU will play it.
No,
this whole mantra of anytime, team, anywhere.
Please.
Washington.
I feel like Stephen A. laughing at the Cowboys right now.
Look, I've said it.
Please, y'all ducked. Y'all are just afraid to play to Washington. That's what their issue is. They were scared, and the history shows that they would have lost to Washington.
I want to see BYU play Coastal because BYU and Coastal apparently have scheduled a game. I really feel like Coastal might beat them.
BYU ain't all
and
that. I'm sorry.
I firmly agree with you because here's my thing, and I ask this to everybody that is a fan of BYU and a lot of people that are just football heads. How many of y'all actually think that BYU would last 4 quarters with a team like Alabama? How many of y'all think that
they would get stumped by this current University of Washington team? They would get stomped by this Washington team, and this Washington team is.
How many of y'all think that BYU would last 4 quarters with Clemson? How many of y'all think BYU would last 4 quarters with Notre Dame? How many of y'all think that BYU would last 4 quarters with Ohio State? And how many of y'all think that BYU would last 4 quarters with Texas A&M or Florida? Serious question.
I could keep laughing, but you know,
We're fine.
Also,
We'll find out though.
if we'll find out. I mean, that's the fact that they ducked Washington, and sources actually said it, and with their history, don't even give it to them. Don't even let them sniff it.
Look, we're gonna find out once they get in the New Year's Six Bowl and they get paired up with probably a team like Florida or Texas A&M or even Miami. We will see.
Miami would expose them too.
Oh yeah, of course, most definitely.
One more thing. Before we do get off, I do want to give a massive congratulations to the University of South Florida for playing the butts off against a team that all of us thought they were going to get beat by 30 plus.
You know what?
For that.
I'm with
Especially Mr. Jordan Peets himself said that they're going to lose by 30 plus.
I really did. I had no faith in them, but they came out with that Nickelodeon slime jersey on and stuff, and I was like, oh god, this is gonna be so ugly. But I say, you know, it's a long road ahead, but I'm very optimistic about where USF is headed under Jeff Scott, and I would not be surprised if here in the near future, maybe the next 2 or 3 years, maybe if USF ended up getting payback and beating UCF, wouldn't surprise me.
Won't surprise me. I think the sky's wide open. I'm not going to give him too much hype. Sky's wide open.
It is. They're in a better place. He needs to establish his own culture a little bit more, and he needs to people got to be patient with him and let him recruit and build his own roster up the way he wants to.
I'm surprised that McLeod actually played that as well, for judging how much he struggled this season.
He wanted it. That was a rivalry game, but at the same time, you know, they didn't want it. They didn't want to just lay down for their in-state rival, and I understand that. Yeah. But that's going to do it for us on this episode of the Run and Gun Podcast. If you have not already, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, check us out on Spotify. And then if you have not already, follow us on Facebook at Penalty Talk. Follow us on Twitter at Penalty Talk. And follow us on Instagram at Throw Flags. Or you can just type it in the search bar, Penalty Talk, and Throw Flags will pop up and it'll be our logo. Flash, you got anything before we get out of here?
Not a whole lot. I just can't wait for the NBA to start. And also, college playoffs. I mean, I think there's a shakeup, dude.
There is. And it'll probably be in the ACC Championship.
Oh! ACC Championship and SEC Championship as well. Those two games are going to shake it up. Ooh, one more thing. We didn't touch about this at all. LeVar Ball has 3 kids in the NBA now. Officially.
Hey, congrats to him.
D'Angelo Ball has signed a, I don't know, I guess it's a 10-day contract or something with the Detroit Pistons. So, congrats to him. You already have 2 kids. You already have 2 children. The top 5 of them. You got a 3rd child.
Congrats.